Hello and welcome to another episode, friends. Yes, you know what? Do you know that we are friends? I have had the great pleasure of pretty much every time I run out on my local trails, I run into somebody, a new friend, and they stop their run. I stop my run. We have a quick chat, and 9 times out of 10, Ed, these people are podcast listeners.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just want to say, because I know a lot of you guys have started your run, your weightlifting session, your bike workout, or even your race. We are so grateful that you continue to choose to bring us along in whatever goal you're working toward and the work that you're putting in. But I just want to personally say, I have been so blessed and humbled by all the people who stop and say hello. But on top of that, even more so, are the messages and stories that we get of people that meet each other at races, out on runs, out and about at events. And so Eddie and I just want to start off this podcast by saying you are our friends and we love you, and we're so grateful that we get to be here with you today. Today is Memorial Day. I don't know when you will be listening to this podcast, but I want to give a big thank you to those who have served, to those who are serving. We know that freedom is not free. And today we remember the millions who have given their lives, who have laid down their lives for our freedom, to the families who are mourning loved ones that they have lost, and those who serve, who have lost loved ones and friends while serving alongside them. And so, I'm really grateful. Ed, we went out for a walk this morning, and Huntington Beach does a great job of honoring not only our veterans, but those who serve. I mean, they put up huge posters. We call them hometown heroes, and they put these posters up all throughout the cities on the streetlights. And you can see their faces and their names. And this morning they did a very big memorial event right by the pier at Huntington Beach. And I love it because the fire truck comes out and they lift up this massive, huge flag, and they do a whole ceremony and everything. So very grateful for Memorial Day that we can take this time to remember. But Ed, I'm sure that you can chime in and echo this when I say between the two of us, we have probably traveled to more than 20 countries. Maybe I'd say more than that. And I think every time we travel, it reminds me of how blessed and just how grateful we are to be able to live in the United States of America. All right, to our youth listeners, our precious kid audience, what is up? We hope today is a fun day for you, and we especially want you to know that Eddie and I love you, and we're always cheering for you. Speaking of kids, Ed, did I tell you how I picked up the phone during my run the other day because Mackenzie was calling?
Yes, I do. This is a great story.
Yeah. I was doing a trail run. Actually, I was listening to a podcast, and I don't really ever pick up the phone when I'm training, but I do have distinct alerts for Isaiah, Mackenzie, and Eddie, and I will stop a workout when they call me. And I always say that to them: if you guys need me, you can always contact me. But the interesting thing about when Mackenzie called me, I was looking for a lost earbud. So I had been listening to this podcast, and we are still very much in the spring season here on our trails. So we get a lot of huge plants that rise up, I'd say 6, 7, 8 feet tall, with yellow wildflowers, and it's just green and bushes and all over the place. And they really crowd up around the trails. In fact, at some point, usually the park rangers and the teams come out and they start to clear that away, partly for fires as well. But right now, there is a lot of flowers out there, and flowers bring out bees. Now, I had my first bee sting of my entire life last week. I know this sounds wild for how many years I have been running out on the trails, but I've never been stung before. But last week, I was stung by a bee. And when Mackenzie was calling me, the reason why I had lost my earbud was because I had run into a little swarm of angry bees. And they started swirling around my head as I was making my way up this really steep pitch. And this was in the canyon. So I'm going up this pitch. So I take off my hat and I start trying to get these bees away. So I'm swatting at them. I'm making noises as I'm doing that. I'm all by myself. There's no one around me. And then I run back down the hill to get away from these bushes. Well, this was my second attempt. As I'm running down the hill, Mackenzie calls, I pick up my phone, we start chatting, and I start working my way back up the hill again to see if I can find my earbud, because I love these earbuds. I use Jaybird earbuds. They are hands down the best. Jaybird 2 sports earbuds. They're so good. They stay in my ear. You can customize all of the settings in them through their app. I love these earbuds. I've been using them for years. And unfortunately, these earbuds are gray. And where I am running, there's pebbles and rocks all over the place in dust. And so my earbud is blending in really well. But where I dropped it was right by the swarm of bees. And so I start making my way up again. And as I'm talking to Mackenzie, I don't even know what it was that we were talking about. But the bees come again. So I start screaming and I'm like, ah, ah, ah. And Mackenzie's like, what are you doing? And I was like, there's all these bees everywhere. I'm trying to find my earbud. So I run back down the hill again. So that's 3 times now. 3 times I'd gone to the same place to try to look for my earbud, trying to not get stung by these bees. And Mackenzie's laughing and I go, Mackenzie, if you were to see me from just 100 yards away and not hear me, I look like a crazy woman. My arms are flailing all over the place. I have my hat out trying to swap away these bees. And then I'm running as fast as I can down the hill trying to get away from these bees because they follow me down the hill. It's not like they just stay in that spot. They are angry, swirling around my ears and everything. And, but I'm pretty stubborn. I need to get through to the other side of the trail, but I also really want my earbud. So she and I are talking and I tell her I'm going to go back up again. And she's like giggling. She's like, Mom, you got to get your earbud. I was like, I know. I'm not leaving till I find my earbud. So I'm looking and I can't find this thing. And again, the bees come after me again. 4 times I run back down the hill trying to get away from these things. So I passed by this section a total of 5 times. And I eventually just leave the earbud behind because I cannot find it anywhere. It was so well blended. Then I'm thinking it may have flown off into the bushes. I mean, it could just be somewhere that I can't find. I was pretty sad because it was a really good podcast. I did end up so I had one earbud. But I think what I did is I disconnected from the Bluetooth and then listened to the rest of the podcast on audio. I was running at a very a side of the trail where not a lot of people go, odd time of day. And so, I felt pretty good about listening to it on speaker. But
what was do you think it was, did you have your yellow hat on?
No.
Oh, wonder what the attraction was.
I don't know. They were already angry. So someone made them angry before I arrived. And that was
that's no joke. The swarm of bees is a scary thing, especially when they're angry and they're coming after you 5 times. That is not a good spot to be in on the trail.
Yeah. So to our listeners, I hope that you stay safe out there on the trails. If you are now 10% into your workout, into your race, I just want to encourage you, first and foremost, very proud of you for putting in the work today. Thank you for bringing us along. And remember, drink those electrolytes, get those calories in. It is summer season, and today I am going to be tackling treadmill training and sticking to your workouts. We are, Eddie, halfway into the year already, and I can't believe it. This week will be coming up on June 1st, and I think we can all agree that January did not feel that long ago. We started off January with high hopes, with big goals and hopes for this year. And I'll tell you what, there are some people listening right now who have lost steam, who have, lost their mojo. And it isn't necessarily because they just don't want to go after those goals, but people have had some surprise setbacks, challenges, busyness, some situations in life that they weren't expecting when they first made those goals. So today, I'm going to be talking about sticking to your workout, sticking to those goals in the middle of the year. I'm going to talk a little bit about treadmill training and how I have used that in order to stick to my goals, maybe dispel a few myths about the treadmill. But before I do that, Ed, before we dive in to the meat of this episode, let's hand the stage over to you for some community feedback.
Yes. I want to highlight some Chew Strong listeners to just share what they've been doing and some good stuff that came in to us. I'll share Beth. Beth came in from our Instagram, and she said, "Hey, Eddie and Sally. Thank you for your fabulous podcast. It always inspires me. Last weekend, I put your podcast on during my 48-hour ultra, and I actually teared up when Sally gave a shout out to people racing, and she says, I am proud of you. In my sleep-deprived state, I was like, Sally is proud of me, and it truly gave me a boost. I went on to cover 152 miles in my race, and I was the first female and second overall. Thank you so much for all that you do, Beth."
How many miles?
152.
Beth, you ran 152
That is
miles.
no joke.
I'm going to give the token, I can't even drive that far.
Yeah,
I don't
right?
even like sitting in the car for that long. Beth, so proud of you. That is amazing. Going past the 50-mile mark, past the 100K mark, past the 100-mile mark, and then securing a spot on the podium. Super stoked. I hope you are still celebrating. Recover well. Keep going. What an incredible achievement.
Yeah, pretty awesome.
Yeah,
Thanks for sharing that,
so
Beth.
Awesome.
All right, the next one is from Brittany. Brittany's actually is a comment on a post that we did from episode 59 on the podcast. But all she commented, what she commented was, listened to this during my half marathon, and I PR'd by over 45 minutes.
Wow. That's
awesome.
a huge PR.
For a half marathon?
Yeah. I mean, even 45 seconds is a big deal.
Yeah.
So 45 minutes, heck yeah.
Brittany, well done.
Yeah, well
Solid
done.
work right there. 45-minute PR. All right, Cody came through the Instagram as well. Cody said, Sally and Eddie, I just wanted to tell you how much that I appreciate your podcast on troubleshooting in races. I completed my first 50K today in very hot conditions. Portions of the course were over 100 degrees. I knew things were going to get crazy in the race, so I listened to your podcast twice. Yes, twice. I followed every recommendation. It was a gut check, and I finished in 7 hours and 1 minute. Had I listened to your podcast a third time, maybe I could have shaved off that minute. Thanks again. Corey, well done, dude.
Well done, Corey. That's
First
awesome.
50K,
Yeah.
7 hours and 1 minute.
We celebrate the firsts.
Yeah.
Always. Your first 5K, your first 10K, your first ultra. The 50K is a no joke distance, and we are so proud of you. What an incredible accomplishment. Thank you so much for taking us with you, listening to us twice in a row. That's pretty cool.
Do you think he could have shaved off that minute if he listened to it the third time? I think he's right there. I think he's onto something.
That's a great time. 7 hours. 7 hours of just doing anything.
Yeah, that is a long time.
I like to always highlight that. I think sometimes we focus a lot on the miles. and pace. But I'll tell you what, doing anything for an extended duration of time is hard. That takes mental toughness and focus. That takes perseverance and endurance and stamina. That's not easy to do. And so whether it was 6.5 hours or 7 hours and 2 minutes, well done.
Yes, well done, Corey. Thanks for sharing. Sorry, I think it's not Cody, Corey. I messed his name up. Corey. Yeah, well done, Corey. Okay, so that was, he listened to it twice, and he was gonna listen to it a third time. And I wanted to follow up with Tony. Now, Tony sent a message in to us on Instagram and said, over the weekend, I had to work 44 hours. And I ended up listening to the Choose Strong podcast for 44 hours.
There's no way. There's no way.
Can we just pause right there and wonder, what in the world would someone listen to us for 44 hours straight for? That's insane.
Because we're good listening, Ed.
I don't know.
We are some good listening.
Maybe there was nothing else on the podcast docket, because 44 hours is, I mean, how many episodes is that? Probably like
10.
Yeah, I was going to say. Especially those race recaps. Only got like a couple in. Anyways, all right.
That's
so she said she listened to us for 44 hours.
Cool.
She's like, it's not an ultra run, but thank you for keeping me company and helping me meet a deadline on time while sneaking out to run a quick 10K. And despite it all, I ran my best time ever.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Appreciate this podcast so much. And I'm a better friend, better runner, and a better human being because of it. Thank you all for your hard work and your effort.
I love it.
Tony, big
Well
props. 44
done,
hours
That's amazing.
of the Choose Strong podcast.
That is really cool. Today's podcast is brought to you by Lumen. Friends, have you heard of Lumen yet? When this was presented to me, I got especially excited because it's the world's first handheld metabolic coach. So it's a device that measures your metabolism through your breath, and they have an app, and it lets you know if you're burning fat or carbs and gives you tailored guidance to improve your nutrition, workouts, sleep, and even stress management. So all you have to do is breathe into your Lumen first thing in the morning, and you'll know what's going on with your metabolism, whether you're burning mostly fats or carbs. Then Lumen gives you a personalized nutrition plan for that day based on your measurements. You can also breathe into it before and after workouts and meals, so you know exactly what's going on in your body in real time. And Lumen will give you tips to keep you on top of your health game. Now, a couple things really stood out to me with this device. One, because your metabolism is at the center of everything your body does, right? Optimal metabolic health translates to a bunch of benefits. So including easier weight management, improved energy levels, better fitness results, better sleep. So while I'm training for a race, all of these things matter to me. So anytime I can get some real-time results and feedback in my day-to-day training, that really excites me. I know it's going to be very helpful to me. But as far as women's health goes, I thought it was really cool that this device can track your cycle as well as the onset of menopause and adjust your recommendations to keep your metabolism healthy through hormonal shifts. So this thing's really cool, you guys. If you want to check this out, which I highly recommend, Lumen is giving us $100 off. So you get the device, and then there is a monthly fee where you can keep up with all of your results and tracking. And like I said before, tests like this are typically done at a doctor's office. You know, you go in and you pay a specific fee to get these types of results. I mean, this is something nice that you can have right at home. So if you want to take the next step in improving your health, go to lumen.me and use Sally to get $100 off your Lumen. That is LUMEN.me and use Sally at checkout for $100 off. Thank you, Lumen, for sponsoring this episode.
All right, I got a couple reviews. Choose Strong podcast kind of love. First one is from our YouTube channel. Dacia said, thank you both for just being who you are. For my first 50K, it's June 30th, and your podcast gets me through my training with a smile and an occasional outburst of laughter. You lit the fire for me to muster up the confidence in myself that yes, I can and I will. So thank you for that. So grateful. Dacia, good luck on that. Jane, also on YouTube, says, hi, Sally and Eddie. I love your podcasts. I wish I knew of them a few years ago when I was trying to finish a full Ironman. It took me 3 tries to wrap my mind around completing one, and I finally did.
Wow.
I'm sure it would have helped me complete one sooner if I was listening to you back then.
Okay, a full Ironman.
Full Ironman. Let's chat
Eddie,
about that.
Do you know the distance of each of the disciplines in an Ironman?
Of course I do. It's 26 miles, 26.2.
No, what's the first thing they do?
They swim.
Okay, how far do they swim?
They swim 60 miles. You saw I said that with so much confidence.
They don't swim 60 miles.
All right, I'm going to try it again. They swim 30 miles.
No.
They swim 50 miles. 20 miles.
Wait, are you serious?
10 miles. I honestly don't know.
Ed.
Sorry. What is it? Full Ironman. I just know they run 26 and they bike like 100, right?
There are so many people who run Ironmans right now listening
that are like, Eddie's an idiot.
Screaming at
they just turned off. They turned off this podcast. They're like, what am I?
All
this
right.
guy's a clown.
An Ironman triathlon is one of a series of long distance triathlon races. Okay, so there's the Olympic distance, there's sprint, there's all that. So the Ironman is like, that's the daddy.
That's the big dog.
That's the daddy. They also have Ultra Man,
Yeah.
which like doubles all of that, but more
and
than
they have
doubles.
sprint triathlon. See, I know these.
Okay,
things.
but an Ironman consists of a 2.4 mile swim, Ed.
2.4. That's what I meant.
Not 30, not 50.
That's what I meant.
You can't
60 minutes. I meant like. I didn't mean 60 miles. I meant 60 minutes.
Huh?
Yeah.
No, they don't time you.
2.4.
I
know,
they
but
don't
like,
time, hey, go swim for 60 minutes.
I know, but like the elite, they know they can like 60 minutes. They're like, yeah, I got this.
No, you've lost all credibility to even weigh in on this. So, consisting of a 2.4 mile swim, a 112 mile bike ride.
Yeah, see, 100. I knew that.
And a 26.2 mile, a marathon run.
Yeah.
So completed in that order, it's a total of 140.6 miles. In a way, this is an ultra.
That's an ultra.
Okay, this is an ultra distance combining 3 different disciplines. I have so much respect for people that do Ironman because you got to be good at all 3 of those things.
Yeah, that's insane.
And I think we brought it up on the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we did it. Maybe people didn't ever know this. Like the Choose Strong project was actually, it started off with me. I was just going to do an Ironman.
I don't think we talked about that publicly.
We didn't.
No.
There is even footage of me swimming at the Y that is nothing short of humorous, deeply comical. I am I'm just going to say this humbly. I'm a terrible swimmer.
Is that the one you had floaties on or no?
Nope. Definitely had a kickboard, probably some fins. Don't know how to breathe well when I'm swimming, kind of freak out a little bit. I mean, this is just a lap pool. But I think I was probably like 5 weeks into it, 5-6 weeks into it, bought my first true road bike.
Legit bike.
We bought it used.
Yeah.
And a few weeks later it was stolen. From the inside of our garage.
Yes, it was.
Somebody got the garage door opener from my car, opened up the garage, stole your e-bike, Isaiah's beach cruiser, and my road bike.
Yep.
And, maybe I use that as an excuse to say, here's a sign that I should not be doing this.
Should not be doing that.
I will say I didn't enjoy the training.
Why?
I didn't like sitting on the bike for that long. Like it was cool. I'd go on 20 and 30 mile rides. And after a swim and then I'd run, I was trying to figure out what the training would feel like.
Yeah.
But some days I would just swim and run, swim and ride kind of thing. Wasn't great at the swim.
Swim's tough.
And I can tell you the longer rides, I would pass people running, and I remember thinking, I really wish I was running right now. And kind of the same thing that happened when I had wanted to train for a road marathon. This is years back in 2016. It's the last time I did a road marathon. And halfway into my road marathon training, contacted my coach, Ann Trayson, at the time, and said, I don't think I want to keep doing this sub 3 hour training, because I'm running, staring at the mountains, asking myself why I actually am doing this.
Yeah.
And, a lot of it was external pressure, thinking I had to get that time. And I thought, I love the mountains, and I have this concentrated, specific time to train. I have this time frame in which I could do this professionally as a mountain runner. I don't know when that's going to end.
Yeah.
It's 2016. So I'm going to stick to what I love. And I still did the road marathon. I wasn't.
Which one was that?
It was Carlsbad.
Oh, yeah.
And I did like in 3:15.
Impressive.
Not really.
No?
I was a little bit apathetic. I was one of those. I did it, crossed the finish line, and drove straight to the mountains and ran 20 miles of the mountains. So could we have run a little bit faster? Probably. Did I want to be out there? No, I didn't. But I think that is all part of the journey. You learn and you grow from that. I mean, obviously got some good fitness in there, but just didn't really have the heart to do it. And I think when I started training for the Ironman, what I did know was that I need a coach. I need a swim coach. I need someone to help me with the bike. There's just so many things I didn't know. I remember my back hurting a lot on the bike. And remember I told you, I was like, I bet it's not fitted properly to me. I need to go get fit.
Yeah. Cause you just got it off the shelf, kind of.
Yeah.
At a used bike
store.
We
got it off this factory, this used, it was in an industrial park.
Yeah.
That they sold used bikes. And I was like, I'll take that one.
That one looks cute. I think I'll take that one.
Yeah, I did all the things wrong in there. But yeah, the Choose Strong project was that, because it was going to be me getting absolutely out of my comfort zone, doing something that in my mind is very hard. I think Ironmans are, they're no joke. But as I started moving through it, I thought, maybe we can do something else that I really can lean into. Also finding that, I remember it was hard juggling the schedule where I was like, dude, I got to drive to the pool.
Yeah, the timing is a lot.
I had to schedule lane times. That became really difficult with the kids' schedules, and with we had just launched our podcast, our app. There's so many things that we were doing at that time. And I thought, no, I can do it, so we were several months in, but I think that for that season, I thought, let's stick to the running. Let's kind of carve out the Choose Strong project into something else, which I'm really proud of. I'm really proud of what it became. It was more true to the story and just, who I am. But I think the overall lesson that I learned is it is important that we carve out stories and goals for ourselves, not because we feel like this is what I'm supposed to do because that's what everyone else is doing, or just because, oh, that sounds hard. I know this idea of we can do hard things. Well, everyone's heart is different.
Yep.
And it doesn't have to be what is hard for somebody else that we need to do. But what is also something that is going to be time well spent, that you're enthusiastic about, that you actually desire and you're stoked about? Because that's really different from, I need to get this work done because it's providing for my family. And sometimes that work that we do is not enjoyable.
No.
We don't want to do it. We don't want to show up. And that is, I think that's hard.
Sure.
That's genuinely, hey, we can do hard things. And sometimes those are the hardest things you do.
Yep.
But choosing a recreational goal, or going after an event because it's challenging. It's okay to set yourself up for something that's it's gonna be challenging, but I'm stoked to go after this challenge. So anyway, to all of that was a massive tangent into the Ironman world, and you're just figuring out what the distances are. But huge props to this person who, what's the name?
This is Jane.
This is Jane, who she said it took her 3 times.
3, yeah.
Jane, hats off to you. And to all of our Ironman triathlon listeners who put in the time, discipline, to swim, to bike, to run, and to be strong in all those areas.
Yeah.
Mad respect.
So is the triathlon off the table for you?
No, it's not.
Everything's always back on the table with you.
It is. Here's the thing. I would love to do it when I can do it right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that you know, I have a lot of friends that do it too. I mean, you know, you're friends with them too.
Mm-hmm.
So that I could like sit down, and I think it would be fun. It'd be fun to kind of like map out a really cool program and not just like dive into it and just try to figure it out. So, and I speak about that all the time when people say, you know, Sally, I work full time. I've got, you know, 2 young kids, and like, I really want to do this, and I just feel like it's not the season. I understand that at my core, but I always say, just keep working at it. It doesn't matter how long it takes. You know, sometimes the place where we get discouraged is we put like this time frame, like I have to do it in the next 6 months. I have to do it in a year. It's like, it's all right if you grow as an athlete and you grow trying to figure out what your schedule, what a good balance is for you in your own life, what works. And it might take you 2 or 3 years to get that marathon done. There's nothing wrong with that. But I never say, don't just think that you can't do it, or think that you have to wait for even like you're not going to have a perfect season.
Yeah.
And so I think this is how it was when I was training for my first ultra. You know, I chose one hoping like, hey, I hope this one in April like works out. It was like October 2009, and the kids were little and life was busy, and I was running a fitness business, and somehow I figured out a way for that to work out during all of that craziness. I mean, that's how I grew, and that's something I always encourage for people. For other people, and maybe for other seasons in my life, that may have taken me 10 months, 12 months, 18 months to kind of carve that path. But I think that's what growth is about. You don't shy away from it and say, no, not right now. It's just, I'm going to see what I can do right now to work towards this. Maybe I can work on just my aerobic base. I'm just going to work on learning how to get out and do something every day, even if it's for 20 minutes every day. And as the months go by, I'm going to see, you know what, I've kind of figured out like a better schedule. If I love like watching my sports at night, but like I probably could maybe watch sports while I'm on the treadmill, or maybe just limit to 2 hours instead of 3 hours. Or, dude, I was tracking how much time I'm on my screen time, and it's like, yeah, I don't need to be on my screens for 2 hours a day. Like I can give up an hour and do this. So all of it is just learning about ourselves and how we can be better with our time. So in Ironman, Eddie, I think what would be really cool is if you and I trained for it together.
I was just going to say, I'm like, now that I've realized that the swim is only 2 miles, I thought it was 60. So I'm in.
It would be really fun to train with you, because even on our beach cruisers, we will, and you and I, it's not uncommon, you and I will go on a 10, 12 mile beach cruiser, but like halfway in every time you say your butt hurts. And
could you, like, is it, are you allowed to do the 112-mile bike ride on a beach cruiser? Is that like allowed? Or how about you do it? No,
not sure you'd make the cutoff time, but
how about we put a like what are those side carts on a bike, and I'll sit in that and you pedal.
Oh my gosh, can you imagine? That'd be so good.
I think the open water swim would be tough. All right. I think that's a little different than chlorine water in a nice warm pool.
I completely agree. I mean, I have a little fear of that too. Yeah. You know? Isaiah just went surfing this morning with his buddies, and his friend got stung by a stingray. So when you grow up at the beach and you have, it's not uncommon especially on our coast down this way. We have jellyfish and stingrays.
Yeah.
And sharks.
Yep.
And just like those of you listening that are like, I'm afraid of going to Chels because of bears and lions and coyotes. I don't really think about those, even though the last few times I've gone on the Western States course, I've run into bears. I guess the more that you're in it, you just start to know how to operate. You also understand how rare some of those occurrences are. And also to never let fear lead. You can't let fear lead. You can be respectful and aware and always, prepared, but never let fear lead. But I think open water swim in the ocean, man, that would be a great thing for me to tackle. That would absolutely be a challenge. The run part, we got that. Eddie, you are a marathoner.
Check that off.
You checked that off.
No problem.
But I think we would just have to learn how to wear those shorts with the padding in it.
Yeah, honestly.
I think bike seats, like the legit bikes, the seats are made. I feel like that maybe for long distances, beach cruiser bike seats are actually more uncomfortable.
Yeah, I think so. Honestly, my butt does not, like, after a few miles, I'm done.
I think you need a better seat and you need some bike shorts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe
I think a lot of people listening who ride the bike are like, yes, and they're nodding. Yes, Sally, you are right.
You are correct, Sally. All right, let's move on.
All right, let's move on.
David, with the last review on YouTube, David said, I really appreciate the fun and the inviting atmosphere that you guys provide. I've been dealing with a few nagging injuries as I'm preparing for my first marathon next weekend, May 25th, which was just this past Saturday, in Traverse City, and Michigan, and you guys have helped me stay optimistic and confident. Appreciate you guys. David, I know that the marathon is over, so man, we are hoping that you crushed it, that it went well, and that those injuries did not come up, and you were able to kill it. So
awesome.
Well done, David.
This episode of Chew Strong is brought to you by Manukora honey. And if you have been a listener for any stretch of time, you know how much Eddie and I love honey. So we are very excited about this one. It is getting colder. It is time to think about presents for the people you love, and the miracle of nature just fell on my lap at the perfect time. And that's a rare super honey that is 100% natural and has some unique properties. Manukora makes Manuka honey, a single origin honey that comes from New Zealand, where the bees only feed on the nectar of the Manuka tea tree, making honey that is pure, rich, and complex with a creamier texture that is on a completely different level from the normal honey you find at the supermarket. You can use it as you would any other honey, but what puts the super in Manuka honey is that it's super rich in antioxidants and prebiotics 3 times more compared to regular honey. On top of that, it contains an antibacterial compound called MGO that can be found exclusively in Manuka honey. The bottom line is that these nutrients really support your optimal immune and digestive health, and it's delicious. This is the perfect way to treat myself with something that is going to keep me strong through the colder months, and the perfect gift for the people I love to keep them sweet and healthy too. The 850 plus honey has this creamy caramel texture that melts in your mouth and is unlike anything I've ever tried. I can grab a spoonful out of a jar, which I've been known to do many a times. I can put it in my favorite beverage or squeeze some honey out on some toast or oatmeal. I personally like honey peanut butter sandwiches. So delicious. If you head to manukora.com/Sally, you can get $25 off their starter kit, which comes with the MGO 850 plus Manuka honey, a free travel pack honey stick, a free wooden spoon, and also a free guidebook. It's the perfect gift for a loved one during this season. Now, I love the jar and squeeze bottle, but the extra pack of compostable honey sticks is perfect for whenever you're on the go. You can bring them with you when you're traveling or if you need a quick snack running errands, and they're the perfect energy boost if you're out for a run or at the gym, especially in this time of year. That's MANUKORA.com/Sally to get $25 off your starter kit. This is just the ultimate honey. Indulge and try some honey with superpowers from Manukora.
All right, that's it, Sal. That's all I got. Some good stuff in that Choose Strong community group. I do want to mention real quick the Strava group that has been created.
Oh gosh, how's that going?
It's going well. There's some awesome stuff going on in there. It's really cool. Again, as we mentioned last time, that the people that don't have the Facebook, they are able to get in there and chat with everybody and share and be encouraged and be kept accountable for their training. So if you're not in the Choose Strong Strava group, jump on over there and get in there, and we'll give you some kudos,
Yeah, I think one of the statements that we have been hearing is that not everyone likes to be on Facebook. Totally understand that. I know we've encouraged people in the past, like, hey, you can go, like, make an alias.
Yeah.
No one needs to know that you're on it just for the main reason being on Facebook.
Right.
But also, totally fine if that doesn't jive with you. And so I think making the Choose Strong group on Strava is also a great place to be. And it's been up for a whole week now, and we have almost 2,000 members in there. So
nice.
What Eddie and I have been seeing is just a whole lot of encouragement.
Yep.
And people giving kudos and following each other. I mentioned this in the last podcast. If you are having a day where you feel like you've lost your mojo, you need a little motivation, go on the Choose Strong Strava group, not to compare yourself or get down on yourself for what everyone else is doing. Go in there and give kudos.
Yep.
Give kudos to all the work everyone has been doing. Give a nice comment, a well done. It's amazing how that will fill you and might encourage you to get out for, a nice 20-minute walk out in the fresh air. Sometimes that's all you need, is to see a community of people who are doing a variety of different types of training at different paces and different durations and all different types of things. Some people are biking and lifting. We see it's Memorial Day today, so a lot of people are doing the Murph workout. So a lot of people post that. We see a lot of people posting my app workouts in there too. So thank you so much for sharing those. As we've said many times before, that's the best way to support me and Eddie's work just across the board, is by downloading our app. I also like to make note that anything that you guys give support to, a portion of that does go back to nonprofit organizations that support orphaned and fostered children. So we just want to give a huge thank you, big gratitude for those of you that have been posting about that, sharing that, and just kind of bringing light to the app in there. But yeah, we hope to see you in the Strava group. Anyone can join, so make sure you also share it. Tell your friends to join. It's a very encouraging group, and it's also a great way if you are training for a trail race and you can kind of announce that in there. You will be surprised at how many people you might meet that are training for the same race. Yeah. And it is so fun going to a race and meeting up with people from the Choose Strong community that have been training for the same race. Yep. It's like instant friendship. Yep. So pretty cool. So I just want to dive in now into the meat of this podcast and why many people have actually tuned in today. One of the highlights in the past couple of weeks, and really throughout my training for Western States, I've been talking about is treadmill training. But also on the other side of that, I'm just going to talk about sticking to your workouts. And I do feel like that both of these go hand in hand. Eddie, how do you feel about treadmill training? There's a lot of opinions out there about treadmill training. Some are incredibly positive, very strong, but I have also, over the course of my career as an athlete and as a coach, heard some negative comments about treadmill training. So I would love to know from your perspective, what do you think of treadmill training?
I might be the black sheep on this one, but I actually really enjoy it. I like it. I feel that because I'm able to put on a show, watch something on Netflix or YouTube or whatever, watch a podcast, I feel, and I can just click away those miles. So, during the marathon training, that was what it was nice to know if I had to go run 8 miles, especially at night, I was like, I'll just go on the treadmill and watch some shows. And, I actually really prefer it, to be honest. And I think one of the reasons that I feel it's like it's soft on my legs and my knees. It's not as like the pounding isn't as rough. And I feel too when I'm like faster on the treadmill for some reason, because when I get outside, I'm like, why am I so slow? But on the treadmill, I feel like really fast. So maybe it's like one of those things, is like confidence booster for me. But yeah, so that's my 2 cents on it. I actually like it.
Mm-hmm. How long have you used the treadmill?
How long have I used? Years.
Dating back to college years, I feel like some of our summer training, you and I would train sometimes in the summer. We went to like 24-hour fitness together.
Yep.
When it was
in the summer for going to college. Training for the soccer team. Yeah.
So over 20 years.
Yeah. I mean, obviously not very consistent on the treadmill, but off and on for 20 years probably. Yeah.
Yeah. So you see it as it's been a tool that has allowed you to stick to your training, whether adverse weather, at night, or just because you can kind of relax into the workout and not think about navigating. You can watch a show and watch the miles.
Yeah, and something else I just thought of too, where it was more where I knew exactly, what the not elevation. What is the elevation. Yeah. So I knew exactly the incline. I knew exactly how fast I can go rather than always looking at the watch, like when I'm outside. So I like that because it's
the
like
screens in front of you.
Yeah, it's right there in front of you. You knew exactly how long to go for how fast you're going.
Yeah.
So I don't know. So for me, I actually like it.
You have consistent feedback, which I think is something that's encouraging across all areas of our life. It is nice when we get feedback about what we are doing, feedback about the work we're putting in. And so when you see those miles click off and you can calculate how much further you have to go in a way that's there's a sense of control and feedback, which that is motivating. Sometimes we need that. This is another reason why sometimes people hire trainers or coaches, is because they have someone there, and you see this if you go to the gym, that is counting the reps, that is giving you feedback. Oh, good job. Okay, let's square off your hips. Okay, let's take that a little bit higher. All right, lower the weight a little bit slower. And for many people, they need that.
Yeah.
They want to check in and know, like, am I doing this right? Is this going to be effective? Does someone see the work that I'm putting in? What's the progress? And I think that when you track something, that's also when things get changed. That's when you really notice a difference. And a treadmill can do that for you. I know the treadmill that we have, you talked about it being a little bit nicer on your joints. The one we have, it does have springs. It has some give to it. It's the incline trainer by Nordic Track. It goes up to a 40% incline and a 6% decline. Not all treadmills do that. So it sits high and there is a little bounce. It really is, as you start really picking up pace too, you can feel that a little bit in there. But I really want to touch on just training on a treadmill as a whole. A few weeks ago, I posted a reel on Instagram. Now, I've showcased a few of my workouts in my lead up to Western States on the treadmill. Now, if you have followed my journey for any stretch of time, and the way that I talk about raising children and getting the training in, I've done a lot of training on the treadmill. And as a coach and athlete, it's been always really interesting to me, the feedback that I get from people who say, thank you for normalizing the treadmill. Thank you for making me feel seen, for making me feel like my workouts count. And, when I first started hearing that, I was like, what? Like, why wouldn't this count? You are putting your body in motion, putting the work in for a duration of time. You are sweating, getting your heart rate up. You're doing the work.
Mm-hmm.
And of course it counts. Of course it matters. As time has gone on, I do understand sometimes that there is a community of people that just like, they don't believe in treadmill running. And it doesn't matter if it's snowing, if it's raining, if it's windy, if it's 1 o'clock in the morning, you run outside at all times. Mm. And that is okay. That's okay to have that mindset. But I will say this, you are not weak for training on a treadmill. And I think that's what it is. It's this, if you choose to train on a treadmill in a winter storm, that suddenly you have a weak mindset. No, you don't. I'll tell you what, it is not fun always staying in one place. I mean, I've done, 20 plus miles on a treadmill. That's not fun.
No.
That takes a certain amount of mental toughness to stay in the same spot in my garage and stare at the wall and run for 20 miles. But here's the thing. I really want to highlight some positives. In fact, I'm going to start off with reading a very short snippet of Antonio Vega's story. This is actually really cool because Antonio Vega, he won the U.S. Half Marathon Championships running all his workouts on the treadmill. So this is a professional road athlete. So in 2010, Minnesota experienced one of its coldest, snowiest, and iciest winters in recent memory. However, for elite runner Antonio Vega, there were still races to be run in warmer parts of the country. So what did he do? Antonio logged 90% of his 120 miles per week on the treadmill. Yes, that is 100 to 110 miles per week of running on the treadmill. And his result was a 2-minute half marathon PR of 1:01:54 at the 2010 U.S. Championships, where he bested the fastest half marathoners in the U.S. to capture his first U.S. championship.
Wow.
So just highlighting that there. This is a professional athlete who runs big miles, and at this season logged over 100 miles on the treadmill. Eddie, can you imagine running over 100 miles on the treadmill every week? Not only that, he's getting his workouts in. So run workouts and then just going and just doing an easy run, two different things. So he's doing tempo, intervals, uphill repeats. I mean, he's getting hard work done on the treadmill to go on to be a U.S. champion. Also want to highlight some elite runners who also love running on the treadmill. This article was written in 2020. I pulled this up really quick, but Christine Clark famously trained almost exclusively on a treadmill in her basement to prepare for the 2000 Olympic trials, which she won in a time of 2:38. Almost exclusively on a treadmill. Magdalena Boulet, who back-to-back ultra athlete of the year, started running indoors after the birth of her son, the Olympian. She was a road marathon Olympian. Now trains on a treadmill 1 or 2 days a week and takes advantage of the incline settings to do hill work. Tara Moody relies on the mill as a safe place to train in the wee hours of the morning. The 2:30 marathon runner, known to read and run simultaneously, has joked, "I do get a lot of weird looks if I'm running a sub 6-minute pace while reading a magazine."
There's no way.
Yeah.
Reading and
how
running
incredible. How
under
can
6.
your vision
I know.
even like stay on a paragraph?
That's impressive.
Very
That is
impressive. So I'm highlighting these stories of professional athletes, fast athletes, dedicated day in and day out, season after season. This is what they do. They use treadmills. You are not weak if you use a treadmill. Your workouts do count if you use a treadmill. I also want to bring to light why people use a treadmill. Here's some positives, Ed. You can get quality, concentrated work without disruption. Now, if you are living in a part of the country where you are hit by snow, storms, ice, listen, all it takes is one bad step and you slip and tear a hamstring.
Yeah.
And so if it's a matter of, hey, do I want to risk running on the ice when I can just hunker down and get this workout done on the treadmill so that I don't get injured, especially if you are injury prone or you're coming back from an injury, and you just want quality work. I need to hit this certain pace, or I need to hit this workout. I know for me personally, the last 2 winters have been pretty intense, uncommon for Huntington Beach. Last year we had one of the wettest, coldest winters.
Yep.
It was, I think, historical. The kind of winter that we had. It had a lot of runs on the treadmill last year. This winter was gnarly 20 and 30 mile per hour wind. And so when I would have workouts, there were some times I still went outside and did the workouts. But then there were other days where it's like, I just don't want to deal with that. I just want to settle in. I want to get my workout in a concentrated, focused way. I want to hit these paces. And so I don't want to deal with palm tree leaves blowing into my face and sand pelting me sideways as I run along the coast. I'm going to get some concentrated work in without disruption. Uphill training without the downhill pounding. So the uphill work that we need to do for mountain and trail running, that also requires you have to go downhill. What goes up must come down. But you know what? A lot of downhill running, especially when you are working into uphill training, that can really beat up the body. In fact, downhill running beats up your body way more than uphill running. So sometimes I'm very specific about my downhill training. And so if I just want to focus on the uphill strength building, treadmill is my go-to. And I will spend segments, 3 hours on a treadmill sometimes, where I will spend half of that time, 60 to 90 minutes, running entirely uphill, because I'm trying to strengthen, my uphill running. And that isn't every day, even weekly. It's very specific workouts where I'm doing that. And I'll just think, okay, there's not a lot of climbs immediately around here where I can just run uphill for 60 minutes straight. And I'm also very aware of what this season has been for me. I mean, this has been the busiest season, I feel like, of my life, with Mackenzie graduating, all of her sports. Same with Isaiah. Isaiah's doing a lot of really exciting things right now. He's really gotten into filming, editing. Eddie, you went with him yesterday to go film his first concert.
Yes.
I mean, he's so talented, but you and I have, Mackenzie's track meets sometimes are 7 to 8 hours long, 2 hour drive there, 2 hour drive back. I mean, it's been these seasons where it's like, all right, I can get on the treadmill at 5 a.m, 6 a.m, hammer out a quality 3 hour workout, and I'm at home.
Yeah.
And I can shower real quick, and then we're in the car. And so sometimes it is balancing time and family and schedules. And that's why I choose the treadmill, which I will, in that same vein, childcare. After I posted this reel, and yes, you can go check it out on my Yellow Runner Instagram, just hit the Reels tab in my profile. You'll see 2 workouts within the last couple weeks that I posted on the treadmill. Both of them are 3 hour workouts on the treadmill. But the most recent one, I am saying, I see you hard work. It all counts. And there are several people in the comments who say, thank you so much. Like, I don't have childcare, and I sometimes feel guilty about running on the treadmill because they are hearing these messages that their workouts aren't as quality, that they don't matter as much. And sometimes these are just things that we tell ourselves, but I just want to tell you, when you show up to do the work and you are finding your way in that, no matter what that looks like, you're getting the work done. Consistency is the most important part of your training. So I feel this, Eddie. I know there was that season, you were working 60, 70 hours a week when the kids were babies, and the treadmill was where I got most of my work done. I was so grateful for it. And I got fitter, I got faster, and heck, I got on some podiums because of it. And so I will never put down the treadmill. And anyone that is choosing to train on it, well done.
Yep.
Well done. Middle of the night running safely. Now listen, we have a lot of first responders that listen to this podcast. If you are coming home at 2 a.m. from a shift in the hospital or, at the fire department, for some people coming home at 2 a.m., they're wired. They can't fall asleep right away.
Yeah.
They also know that's the only time that they can get that 60-minute workout in. So they hop on a bike trainer. They hop on a treadmill. Not all of us live in an area where running around the neighborhood at 2 a.m. is a good idea. Some of us also have young children and also just want to know that they can just be at home. They can go right onto that treadmill, get the workout in without even thinking about it. They got their nutrition right there. They got the bathroom right there. Then they can roll off the treadmill, rinse off, and go right into bed. And so our graveyard shift workers, our new parents, our first responders, the treadmill is a great answer when it's sitting there in your basement or in your garage. Rehabbing an injury. Sometimes when you are testing out an injury and you head out for a run and you're 15, 20 minutes away from the house and you realize, I can't actually run anymore. Like, this is all I can do. I ran a little bit too far away from the house. I've told athletes before, you know what? Get on the treadmill at the gym or at your house. Test it out first. Test it out at different inclines. See how you can run at 1% incline, 2% incline. See how it feels. If you're not feeling it, go hop on the bike. Go get on the elliptical. Go start lifting some weights. Do something. Instead of heading out for a run, being completely disappointed, walking home, beating yourself up, sometimes the treadmill works great. It helps you pivot a lot quicker when you're at the gym. And we did this with you.
Yeah.
You and I go to the gym often together. And I remember being on the treadmill and you had said, hey, what's a good idea? How should I rotate at the gym? I was like, oh, go start off 20 minutes on the treadmill. Then you walked over to me after 5 minutes. You're like, that's not working.
Yeah, I felt
and in that moment, I want you to do this, this, and this. And you ended up still getting in like an hour and a half of training.
Yeah.
And so sometimes the machines really help us stay consistent. And I think that was a big part of you staying consistent in your training for LA Marathon, don't you think?
Big time. Yeah. Because I had those nagging injuries from the back to the shin to the hip, and I was, it was nice to know that I can go to the gym and test it out. And then there's the bike if I couldn't do it. Yeah.
Yeah. What were some of the machines that you felt like you worked into your training just to keep your fitness up?
I did the elliptical, I did the stairs, and the bike. Those three. Yeah. And
sometimes I remember you would hike uphill.
I did use the treadmill to hike. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Actually, I did that a lot. Yeah.
This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. One of the relationships that I am most proud of in my life is the relationship I have with Eddie James McRae. And I'll tell you what, a common misconception about strong relationships is that they have to be easy to be right. Sometimes the best relationships happen when both people choose to put in the work to make them great. And I believe therapy can be a great place to work through the challenges you face in all of your relationships, whether with friends, work, your significant other, or anyone. In past experience, I have found that therapy is helpful for learning positive coping skills and how to set boundaries. It empowers you to be the best version of yourself. It isn't just for those who've experienced major trauma or have major challenges in life. And if you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Become your own soulmate, whether you're looking for one or not. Visit betterhelp.com/choosestrong today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/choosestrong. So now that we've kind of established treadmill holds some weight. Treadmill counts, okay? It's an important tool in running for a lot of us, myself included. I appreciate it. And the second part of this podcast, the messaging, is about sticking to your workout. And I know for me, the treadmill was one of the ways that helped me stick to my workout. And we talked about just now, we brushed on it, how other machines did. So some of you guys have other machines in your house. You have a rower, elliptical, a bike trainer, a stair mill or stair stepper. You know, I really feel like over the years that for how long I've been training, I mean, I really haven't taken a break from training outside of those months leading up to when I would give birth. Both of my deliveries were fairly traumatic. I had emergency C-sections for both children. So I had to recover from stomach surgery. So I didn't have this, these smooth sailing into giving birth and then even the healing after. There was a lot of things I had to figure out. And I had to adjust my workouts when I was building back up. The gym kind of became a place, whether that gym was in our garage. Sometimes we had garages that had a gym in it, or the local gym. It absolutely helped me stick to my workouts. And that is something that I kind of want to hang on here right now, because as we mentioned earlier, Ed, we are, we're halfway through the year, and we're closing out a school year. We're entering vacation season. We have some big races upon us. So a lot of people are busy, tapering or hitting those peak weeks in training. But I know that some of you're barely holding on to those goals that you made back in January. So it's not uncommon to lose steam right now. It's also not uncommon to have had a lot of surprises and new events occur that have taken you away from your originally planned schedule. So let me weigh in just a little bit here, because I want to encourage you wherever you are in this year. Now, statistically, we hear this all the time. We hear this, it's brought up a lot even at the beginning of the year, that usually 6 to 8 weeks in to people working on a New Year's resolution or a new goal, it's somewhere middle of February, beginning of March, that the majority has walked away from that goal, or has, it's kind of fizzled out.
Yeah.
And so I really want to speak to that audience. I also want to speak to people that have still been working on those goals, but you feel like you're kind of hanging by a thread. You feel like you need a little kick in the pants. You feel like, man, this is just really hard. I'd like to say that I have experienced every season of life known to man. That's not true, but I'd like to say I'm pretty close. Whether that's navigating a full college class load while playing a sport and working 2 jobs, helping care for a terminally ill family member, becoming a new parent while healing from a big surgery, juggling 2 babies with little to no childcare while trying to run a business, moving across country, financial hardship, moving 4 times in 4 years, navigating injury, missed goals, and letdowns in racing and training, family drama, friend drama, lack of self-belief, lack of confidence, extreme fatigue, you name it. I've been there, and I've been through it all. And I have learned in all of that how important it is that I stick to a workout, as it comes down to taking care of myself. And I think sometimes it's what we have to do is we have to reframe some of our goals, that aside from wanting to get a PR, cross the finish line, when you are showing up for a workout, you're taking care of yourself. You're taking care of your mental health. You're taking care of that one amazing, beautiful body that you have been given. And remember, your body and who you are and your health affects the people around you. When you show up for yourself, you're showing up for other people as well. And so here's a few things that have helped me. One of my favorite things that I do, a little mind game that I do, it's called Don't Think, Just Go. And I know we mentioned this way back in another episode. I think it was our How to Keep Going episode. But this is really powerful, because sometimes our minds, as powerful as they can be, a powerful tool, that mental toughness, they can also be a barrier. And sometimes we overthink our workouts. Sometimes our workouts overwhelm us. Sometimes we physically feel our stress, and that actually keeps us from wanting to get out and move. Sometimes we have to turn off the noise inside, slip on our shoes, and just step into the fresh air or into the gym or into a group class or into our garage where we train and just get the work done. Eddie, I don't know if you can speak into that, but I know sometimes we start off our day with good intention to train.
Mm-hmm.
With good intention, it's on the calendar. I planned it last night. It's part of my do list. It is important for me. And then what happens with the day? Sometimes the day gets away or things pop up and you're like, oh man.
Yeah, you have it on the calendar, but you push it off because of work or whatever, right? And it's like in the afternoon you're tired, and then it's like, oh, dude, I still gotta get in there and make it happen. But yeah, I think don't think, you just gotta get in there. And I feel like for me, it's just like, even if I do 20 minutes, I'm getting in there and doing something. It's not going to probably be the best workout ever if I had done it in the morning maybe, but now that I've pushed it off to now, if I can get 20 minutes in, I'm going to call that a win.
Mm-hmm. One of the things that I do enjoy, a tool you can use is a local gym.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure for our listeners internationally or even nationwide, but I know here in California, there are several gyms that have monthly memberships, $10 a month, $19 a month. I mean, you can kind of, and there's other discounts you can get with your AAA member. There's, and some people just have community ones in their neighborhood, or if you live in an apartment complex or a condo. There is something that I've learned over the years that even if I am tired, even if I'm like feeling mentally down or stressed or overwhelmed from work or life or whatever it is, I'll do this. It's the don't think, just go. I just put on my gym clothes and I just walk out the door. And there's something about being in the gym environment that helps. And here's what I do. I will walk into the gym and I tell myself, we are going to be here without intensity. Now, if you are feeling the stress of life, then you need to take the stress out of the workout, but you need to do something. And so there's two things I do. The first thing is I will pick a machine and I'll just walk. I'll walk for 10 minutes on the treadmill, or I'll bike for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
There have been mornings where I'll get up. It'll be a 4:30 in the morning and I will make a cup of coffee. No joke. This works, you guys. I make a cup of coffee and I will go sit on the bike at the gym for 20 minutes and ride and drink my cup of coffee. And there's no intensity in that. What am I doing? I'm just being. I'm in the gym. I'm enjoying my coffee. I'm waking up. And sometimes I'll give myself a pep talk too. But you know what I'm also doing? I'm noticing all the people around me that got up that morning and are putting the work in. Sometimes it's being in the right environment. Here you guys, I'm going to speak on this. The people you surround yourself with have a direct influence on your life. This is why choosing your circle is so important. This is why choosing your friends is so important. But this is why I say sometimes having a gym pass does help, because you're putting yourself into an environment where people are getting work done. And guess what? They're getting it done at all different paces, all different intensities. The thing is, they've all showed up to do something.
Yeah, I remember when you would tell me, like, hey, you got to run 7 miles today for your training, and you got to do these stretches and stuff, or the glute exercises. And I remember it, being 7 p.m. I'm like, that is the last thing that I want to do right now. But I knew in my head, if I walked through the gym doors, I would look over and those treadmills would be filled with people doing it, right? Like, and so it is like the environment's super helpful and encouraging.
Yeah,
definitely.
And, I really am speaking to a very specific seasons and days in my life. I think it's really easy for people to think that because this is my job, or, I talk so much about mental toughness. I'm a human being with all the feelings, emotions, and seasons just like you. There's nothing extraordinary about me. And when I feel the heaviness of life, whether as a mom or in business or in training, I have learned how to pivot. And this is how I stay consistent. Sometimes I need just to sit on the bike and just pedal and wake up and say, Sally, you get to be here. Go ahead and have your cup of coffee. But after these 20 minutes, it's time to get to work.
After 3 hours and you're still on the bike and you haven't waken up yet, hey.
Yeah, that's okay
you've been
too.
There for
you
3
spent
hours.
3 hours doing that. But I'll tell you what, it helps.
Yeah.
It has helped me big time. There have been times where
try
I've done that, where and you know what, sometimes for me, I like to listen to podcasts in the morning too. Sometimes I'll listen to like a Bible study or something like that, or some type of motivational message. But it wakes me up. I'm looking around at the people putting in the work, got a little bit of cup of coffee, and I'm able to step outside of myself and just say, Sally, come on. You got a strong body. You get to do this. There's work to do. That goal that you have set for yourself that's down the road, it needs you to be here right now. You know, it's years and years and years of encountering these moments in my life that have allowed me to build up mental strength. But I'll tell you what, I still have moments where I need to give myself a gut check, where I need to give myself a pep talk, and also where I sometimes just need to give myself grace. Yeah. I know I'm an intense person. I know I like to go hard all the time. Every coach I've worked with is like, hey, let's take it back a bit. I know I have that self-awareness around me. And I think it's important that you, the listener, you should have that awareness about yourself too. You know where the things that make you weak. Yeah. You know the things that that you're tempted by. You know your patterns. If you look back and you're like, dude, every time this happens, I usually am not going to do my workout. Or if this comes up, that sidelines me every time. I'm going to end up choosing this instead of getting my workout in. You know that. So you need to be honest with yourself. And so that's why I've kind of created these habits where if I wake up and I'm like, this isn't that my body feels tired. This is mentally, I'm feeling the heaviness of the world, the heaviness of being a mom. I'm feeling it right now, but I still need to do the work. It doesn't matter what I'm feeling. You know, I've talked about this. You have your feelings and you have the truth about what it is you want to achieve. And if you let feelings take over, they're also going to take away from what you know to be true. And the truth is you need to do work. You need to keep growing. You need to keep going. That's how you achieve that goal that you set out to do. But so often we can let the feelings dictate. And I know that about myself. And so I will get up, make that cup of coffee, sit on the bike in the gym, give myself a pep talk. And I'll tell you what, I can't tell you how many times after I've let myself do that, I go on and have an amazing workout and have a great day. And I leave that gym thinking, yes, dude, we overcome. We overcome in those moments. And I'll tell you what, these aren't the hardest moments in life. That's just being a human. Yep. That's just like, I'm not 100% energized all the time. I'm not 100% stoked all the time. And every day I'm figuring out how I can be better. And so, you know, getting a workout in, that's not the hardest part of the day, but it is worth it when I choose to get it done. And I feel like I operate better in every area of my life. I get home and I have good energy. I'm a better mom. I'm a better businesswoman. And I feel like, okay, you know, we're moving through this. So I don't know if you have anything you want to add to that, Eddie. I know that the gym was a big tool for you when you were leading up to the LA Marathon.
Yeah, no, I think I mentioned it, but I like the getting on the bike and waking up thing. It's a good idea.
Absolutely. So the other thing I want to encourage you to do in sticking to your workouts, I did say, I already kind of touched on this briefly, but take away the intensity. I know that sounds odd, but if you are working through stress, anxiety, hardship in your life, take the intensity out of your workouts and just walk. Go on a hike. Ride easy on the bike. What will eventually happen is you will naturally lean into the consistency of that. So let's say you have like a really hard couple weeks. Don't just like, I'm not going to do anything because doing a tempo run right now sounds insanely difficult for me. I can't even like focus. You need to get out and do something. You need it for you. And I know, Eddie, you love starting your day with like a 3-mile walk along the coast, and you always come back revved up.
Mm-hmm.
You come back lighter. You were able to work through some things for your day, whether that is stress or just having clarity about decisions that you need to make. Getting out and moving your body is one of the best things you can do when you are experiencing stress, hardship, heaviness in your life.
Mm-hmm.
And so I always say, if you are in the middle of a training program, it's okay. Take a couple days where, okay, we're not doing any intensity. I'm just going to take it easy. And I'm going to tell myself, we just need to move. I know I'm going to feel better after I move. You will eventually return to intensity, because here's the thing. Sometimes when you are feeling weighed down, and this could also even be after a race when your body feels like heavy and tired, sometimes little spurts of intensity actually make you feel really good.
Mm-hmm.
I did this with you a couple times, Ed. I would just be like, you're just going to run fast for 10, 20 seconds. That's it. And you ended up really loving that, because that didn't feel so overwhelming. Oh, this is only going to last 10, 20 seconds. Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So I encourage that too. If you're feeling, that heaviness, you're feeling tired, go easy and then see what happens when you have a little short burst. If you're walking, jog for 10 seconds. Do that over and over again. And go walk for 30 seconds, go walk for 30 minutes, and then throw in some 10-second bursts of running. See what happens. You might end up doing a lot of those. You might actually keep on going.
Mm-hmm.
You might actually settle into a run and just, oh, wow, I've been running for a mile now.
Mm.
So take the initial intensity out. It will return, but don't not do anything. And that will really help you stay consistent.
Mm-hmm.
The next thing I want to highlight is grabbing a friend, a family member, or Eddie and Sally.
Oh,
Put us in your ears. You're not alone. You are important. You are a human. This is a part of being a human. You're going to have weeks, months, sometimes years where life just feels hard. And I want to encourage you to keep going. So for every step you move forward in the challenging situations or entire seasons of life, you grow. You change into a better version of yourself. So you are an overcomer. And the only way you become like that is by living through, walking through, breathing through every season of your life. So this idea of like, I want to be stronger, I want to be resilient, I want to overcome. Well, guess what? The only way that happens is through the tough seasons in your life. It's on those days that you feel like you don't have motivation or inspiration or feel like doing something that you then turn off the feelings and you say, I'm just going to go and show up. And so if you are in that space right now where you've walked away from a goal, or the goal has kind of been turned upside down and shaken up, and you feel discouraged, or you did spend the last 3, 4, 5 months going after something and it didn't come to fruition, it didn't happen, or you had to drop out of a race, or you missed the mark, or whatever it is that you're working toward, I want to encourage you to go back and keep building. Go back to it, because guess what? You do not need anyone's permission to start again, because no one gets to live your life. No one gets to make the goals for you. This is you, and this is the time. You can't change what was yesterday. You can't change the past. You have zero control of tomorrow. You have right now. And so overall, this message is to encourage you in the middle. You guys, I wrote a little excerpt on this a year ago. I have posted it twice, and it really hits home for me. I know every time I've posted this, it is shared thousands of times across social media, because I believe as human beings, we can all identify with this. And the main message is, don't give up in the middle. And so I'm going to read to you what I wrote. Yes, you can find this on Instagram. You can screenshot it. Make sure you save it. Make sure you share it. Send it to somebody you love, because I know it will be encouraging. And so this is what I wrote. How many times do we quit in the middle? in the middle of a storm, when we think we can't take any more. We quit when the discomfort feels too intense, when we are weary of the battle. We quit when our pride is hurt, when we're embarrassed or weakened by failure. Seldom do we quit right before the finish line, those final miles when we know we're close, the final moments when we can see a glimmer of light in the distance and we hear the cheers awaiting us. It's easier to quit when it feels like there's so much further to go, when we're in the wilderness. This post is for you when you find yourself in the middle. The middle is where courage demands your attention. Like a trapeze artist swinging from one side to the other. At some point, she has to let go. At some point, she's empty-handed, flying through the air on hope for the next catch. She's vulnerable in the middle. But the only way she'll accomplish what she set out to do is by being courageous and letting go. I hope when you reach your breaking point in life or in a race that you remember your strength. No matter how many times you have to restart, slow down, or learn, never, ever give up in the middle. And so, friends, as you run along, as you lift, as you cycle, for those of you that are still racing right now, I want to encourage you in that. The times that feel uncomfortable, when things are not going as you planned, when the weeks or the seasons feel hard, when you feel like you have lost all control, I want to encourage you that it is in those very moments that you will grow the most. You will be strengthened when you choose to keep going. And so I want to thank you for listening to this podcast. I want to thank you for allowing us to encourage you today to keep going as we are now in the middle of the year. Mm-hmm. I hope that you can find some renewed strength, some renewed hope for the second half of the year. Eddie, I don't know if you want to add a word to that, because you're in the middle of it too. Yeah. You're in the middle of the year. You're in the middle of a lot of stuff right now.
Yep.
And I think that one of the things that people often look forward to when they listen to the podcast is Eddie's goals. And so you are in the middle of working through some goals. In fact, you even received a special gift.
I did.
In the mail.
You're right. Yeah, I did.
You had no idea who this was from.
No
if you
clue.
are watching our YouTube right now, Eddie's going to flash up this sweet little gift.
I can show you, yeah.
That he got in a
it's
box.
Still in a box, and it's still in the plastic here because it's so brand new. And you guys can see it there. It's this.
Is that leather bound?
It's leather bound.
You want to go and take that out of the wrapper?
Yeah, I do actually.
Eddie, tell us, for those that are running along right now, what are you looking at?
I'm looking at a leather bound journal that on the front of it says Eddie's weekly goals. I mean, that is awesome. Look at that. And
so good.
And it came with a pin, if I can get it out here, that says my goal pin. So I can write all my goals with my beautiful goal pin.
So we had no idea where this beautiful gift came from. And there was nothing inside of it. And then my sister messaged me this morning and said, I think Eddie was delivered my package because I got alert that he did, but I forgot there's probably not a note in there.
Yeah. Leah, that's
Leah, thank you. Leah listens to
You're
us
the
on her
best.
very long commute. She's got like a 2-hour round trip commute to and from work. And this was such a sweet gift. But the reason why I'm bringing up Eddie's goals at the end of this podcast, because I think it is really relatable to what I just spoke about. And, you know, have a renewed sense of we're still going, we're still moving. Not everything rests on the beginning of the year, the beginning of the week. It doesn't rest on Monday. It doesn't rest on the first of the month. It rests on the day that you have.
Yeah.
And so if you are in the middle of the week when you are listening to this, if you are kind of in a slump and you're just like, I'll wait till 2025, or I'll wait till October 1st, or I'll wait till next Monday, I want to encourage you to start right now. Implement some of these things right now. Stop overthinking and just do something today. And again, I am always talking about so much more than running. Obviously, a massive group of our listeners are runners and those that are love to train and lift and ride. But we learn a lot of lessons in our training of our bodies that we can apply to life. And I know that we also hear from a lot of people that are working toward goals, whether that's in school, in relationship, in their careers. And so it's important that we are always evaluating where we are in our journey and how we can get better. How can you set yourself up for success? Listeners, how can you set yourself up for success? You know, not everyone can have a life coach. Not everyone can have a fitness coach or a sports coach. Not everyone has a mentor, someone to be checking with them. I'll tell you what, Eddie and I are in your ears and we are encouraging you in this. This is a big reason why we do what we do, because we believe in you and in your goals. And we both know, having gone after goals for most of our entire lives, what a gift it is when you have people that come alongside you and say, I believe in you. Pick yourself back up. Keep going. I see the potential in you. I think that you can achieve this. And we start to learn that at the end of the day, it comes down to us choosing to believe that too. So you could have all the mantras in the world. You could have a big pile of inspirational, motivational books sitting on your nightstand. But if you don't choose to implement any of those things, if you don't make the change yourself, nothing's going to change. Our friend Brian Mazza, his thing that he likes to say, nothing changes if nothing changes. I mean, that's so true. It's a very basic thing, but it's true. What are you waiting for? There will always be a someday, a one day, a further down the road. I've been there. I've said those statements, and sometimes it is just we kind of catch ourselves just saying this. Oh yeah, one day. Yeah. You know, eventually, when things are less busy. We kind of thought that when we were in the early parenting years. You remember how crazy our life was. I think you and I caught ourselves a few times saying we can't wait till the kids are in school. Like we were so exhausted. We couldn't wait till they're in school. And then they get in school and we're like, oh my gosh, we can't wait till they drive. You know, and now we're here and we're like, oh, why can't they be little again? Totally. But has the busyness changed? No, if anything, it's increased or it just looks different. And so we're, as humans, we are good at filling spaces. We are good at filling our time, adding work even if we don't want to, whether it's adding work or just adding fun things to do. We all have the 24 hours and you get to choose what you do with those 24 hours. You are the master of your life. You don't need to wait and ask people for permission to live your life. And so I really love this journal. I'm a paper person.
Don't touch my journal.
I won't be touching that. It is beautiful. But you know, I have just a sketchbook that I keep on my nightstand. I'm constantly scribbling. I'll also admit too, sometimes I have those little tiny pocket notebooks that I keep in the pocket of my overalls.
I've seen you whip that thing out a few times here. I
do. I'm always writing. I love that. I love knowing that I get to plan and execute and dream and imagine every day of my life. And listeners, that's the same for you. That doesn't take a college major to do that. It doesn't take a special talent. It's part of who you are. If you have dreamed things up in your mind, there's a reason for that. Go after it. If you have imagined something that you want it to be this way, you hope for a goal to be achieved, you have to have a starting point day after day after day, right? Every day is a new day. That's all you get.
Yep.
And so if you are working through a really junky day today, man, today is just not a good day. And so I put on the Choose Strong podcast. Well, we are here to remind you that there is still time in this day
That's right.
for you to do something.
Yep. Heck yeah. Plenty of day left. Go handle it.
There's plenty of day left. I know Eddie and I, we both have to get our workouts done today.
Ooh, yes.
I know for me personally, we are looking at 33 days until Western States.
Coming quick.
I have a little gift for those of you that are listening to the podcast. Now, I haven't shared a ton of my training, but I will say this. I feel like this season of my training is oddly reminiscent to my first year as a Nike athlete 10 years ago when most of my training not as a Nike athlete, my first year of ultra running. So when the kids were babies, when I did a lot of training on treadmill. I haven't done this much training on a treadmill in my career as my first year training for ultras. This is hands down the busiest season of my life. And it is for many, many reasons. A lot of it has to do with our kids and being present for things that are so meaningful to them. See, our kids are turning into adults and are actually working on and navigating and needing us for big decisions and events in their life. And so showing them that support, being there to guide them, to lean on, to listen to, has been time consuming and exhausting in the best way. I say this in the best way. I feel so fortunate that we have the relationship that we do with our kids, that our presence is important to them, that they come to us in confidence, that we have these conversations, and that they love for us to be around as they are working towards building their dreams.
Yep. I'm going to go on the record right now and say that you've really stepped it up and you've done a great job.
Oh, you're going to make me cry. Thank you.
Well, I'm not trying to make you cry. I'm just saying it.
I wasn't expecting that. But I have gotten a few comments from people about all the treadmill training that I've been doing. I'm like, that's why.
Yeah.
When I can, my favorite mountain is Mount Baldy. That's a quick 45-minute drive for me. Training that's a big part of my career. It's my job. So for me, that's my office commute. But I'm so dialed into the minute by minute of my days and where I'm spending my time, and really trying to spend as much time as possible with the kids and what it is that they're working on. And also, our kids are at points even just in relationship building that are very different from like, hey, I'm going to have a play date with this friend. We're going to do puzzles and draw chalk on the sidewalk. Like they've been navigating serious relationships and having more, I feel like your whole life is learning how to navigate relationships, right? Whether it's friendship or someone that you like, or, a coach relationship, a teacher relationship. Like these are like real conversations. And I know that even now, you and I are in our 40s, we understand that relationships and situations that happened when we were teens in our college years, they still affect us today. Yeah. Whether it was a positive or negative. And so, there have been multiple times in my training where I have been training on the treadmill where the kids have come in with a very serious topic to talk to me about. And I have stopped my training and gotten off the treadmill and sat and talked to the kids for an hour as they've worked through stuff. And I wouldn't trade that for anything. That is a part of being a parent. It's a part of real life. And you and I talked about this yesterday because yesterday was Isaiah's first concert that he was filming. Yep. And I had come home from training and I had an interaction with him and I said, oh, I went to you in confidence. I go, I can tell something's bothering Isaiah.
Mm-hmm.
And you said, I think he's really nervous. I think he's nervous. This is his first like concert he's doing. And it's a lot. It's a lot he has to navigate. And then you and I talked about how, you know, you Eddie you've got cameras dialed in. He comes to you all the time for advice. I mean, he's using your equipment.
Mm-hmm.
He's asking you about, you know, how do I use this function and this program and the backup batteries and lighting and audio. I mean, he comes to you a lot. I've been watching that.
Yeah.
And so I said to you, you know, would be super cool if you accompany him and you're just like a home base, someone that he could stand next to, someone that he could go and collaborate with or talk through, you know, some of the shots he wants to get, or, you know, because he had to get on stage. I mean, there's so many different things he was doing. And you had quite a bit of work to do. You had I saw your to-do list, and we kind of talked about that. And then you and I both agreed, we're like, there's going to come a day when we long for moments like this, when life is so busy and the kids have moved on and moved out, and if, you know, they're living their own dreams, and they're not in the house anymore.
Yeah.
And I know that you'll look back and be so stoked that you stopped everything and stepped in to support him.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, as soon as he found out that you were going to be coming in, his whole demeanor changed. He was so happy. And then I was like, I'm going to drop you, you know, I'll drop you guys off. It was really busy parking. And, and I knew the whole thing was only like 2.5 hours. So I said, okay, I'm going to run errands. I was still in my disgusting trail clothes. Remember, I hadn't even taken a shower yet. You and I were kind of looking at each other like, I need to take a shower. I need to do recovery. We both have these 2 things we need to work on. And I was also in the middle of, you know, we're planning Mackenzie's graduation party. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to drive both you guys. Let's really hype up Isaiah on the drive over. Let's make him feel like he can do this. Let's give him a pep talk. Let's support him. Like, we're going to like all go with him. And it was really precious to see his smile and just to see both you guys walk away from the car going towards the concert. And then the return of that. So I went and I ran all the errands for Mackenzie's graduation. Well, part of the errands.
Part of them, yeah.
So I got a lot done too. And then I went back and picked you guys up, and he was just all smiles. He was so happy. And he said multiple times, thank you so much, Dad, for joining me. But I then later said to you that night, I said, he will never forget that.
Yeah.
He'll remember his dad being there. And and so that has been our season.
Yep.
You know, for those of you that have said goodbye to a child ending their high school career and is planning on moving out of state, you know, the culmination of the year, those last few months, it does get busy. There's lots of activities that are going on. Mackenzie had a lot of big races, but also Isaiah's, he's building up his business. It's crazy. At 16, he's building up a business, and is getting gigs right and left. I mean, we just can't believe it. And so we know that's really critical that we show that support. But I think, you know, when I first started on this journey to training for Western States, you know, hiring a coach that also played a crucial role in, I need someone to like keep me in check and keep me organized and giving me feedback, because I will have my hands in over a dozen different things. And, you know, I feel like despite the busyness of this season, I will say it, and I am proud that I've gotten in all the training, but it has not looked like the kind of training that I have done in the past 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, because so much of it has been in the gym. And I'll tell you what, listeners, when I stand on the start line at Western States, I want you to know that I will be thinking of you, and that I represent all of you who work so hard toward a goal while caring for others, while going to school, while having a full-time job, while also juggling just different obstacles and challenges. I see you, I feel you, and I'll tell you what, it can be done.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be messy and sideways and upside down, and that is okay. That's the life that I have known, and I love to represent that. I love to represent that not all things are perfect, and that my life does not need to look like every other elite athlete on that start line. I'll tell you what, the girls that I'll be lining up next to, most of them live very different lives than I do. And no life is better than the next. There's no one way that's the more prominent way to do something. The most important thing is that you live the life that is authentic to you, that you do it boldly, courageously, and that you never, ever give up. We want to end this episode by thanking you not only for listening, but we want to encourage you to leave us a Spotify review. I know we have so loved reading those reviews. So if you want to support our work, download the app, but also we ask that you please share our podcast with a friend. Thank you to everyone that is watching us on the YouTube channel. We've had so much fun sharing the visuals with you. Thank you for your kind comments, for watching us. Eddie, I can't believe that we have thousands that tune in on YouTube to watch us talk from a table, drink coffee and our water every single week. I don't know if there's anything else that you want to add. I ask you this at the end of every episode, and the smile on your face makes me giggle. I just want to say
thank you guys for tuning in, listening to us.
Yeah. And if you are still running, you are still moving along, I'm just going to tag back in and say, well done. I'm proud of you for showing up today, for putting in the work. Make sure you drink some of your electrolytes right now. Get some carbs and calories in. If you are racing, I believe in you. You hit those uncomfortable points. You can work through it. You got this. And to all of our listeners, whether you are in the kitchen cooking, you are driving home from work or going to work, we see you. We appreciate you. We love you. And we want to encourage you to keep choosing strong in all you do.